fire exit, leading to nowhere. Good morning! My name is Jasmine and I'm an illustrator, and welcome to NaNoWriMo week 4! It's the last week. I'm gonna make it my priority to really push every day between now and November 30th, and we'll see how that goes. Another update is that I'm back to writing Girl Night. I kind of figured out some of the issues that I was having, so we're back on track with writing this medieval comic script. Today is Monday, it's 8:30 in the morning. I don't have to log on to my day job for another hour, so let's use this hour to work on Girl Night. I just got on my lunch break, so we're gonna get back to writing. I know it doesn't feel like much has changed on your end, but the only thing that sucks about taking on this challenge seriously is that because I'm writing comic scripts and not an actual novel, that the word count aren't gonna be as impressive as they would usually be. But I know that I'm writing a lot. So I finished the scene where the court dancing trainer updates the knights with the latest court dancing. So from this point onward, the story starts becoming more interesting to me. We're done setting everything up, done establishing why everyone is doing everything. Not that I've actually written that part very well, not at all, but in my head, within the story, we're officially in the middle, like knee deep in the middle. It's these little pockets that I struggle immensely with Girl Night, because now that this scene is over, what exactly happens between the next big scene? And it is such a void in my head. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe we finally arrive into Dijon and the tournament starts. But I do think that we should have at least 1 or 2 scenes of them moving towards Dijon for the tournament. So what's supposed to happen in those 2 scenes? And I don't want those scenes to be just filler scenes. They have to serve a purpose. So right now I'm just trying to think, what purpose would that be? I figured one purpose between 2 side characters, but while that happens, how do we just move the story along? I don't know. I don't I don't know. I don't know. It's a comic, right? So we don't even need to have dialogue to move the story along. We literally just need establishing shots that stuff is happening, like servants are packing things up and the knights are climbing their horses. Like, we are clearly seeing that we're gonna leave the castle now. So how does that look like in script form is, I guess, what I'm also just kind of bleh. Let's just keep writing. Okay, so I figured out a transition scene that actually worked. So what's going to happen instead is the camera's gonna be in the kitchen while all this activity is happening, because they're packing supplies for the trip to Dijon. So we get to see all of the different characters kind of doing their own thing and anticipating this big tournament trip in the different areas of the castle. But the connective thread to all of those little interactions is gonna be the little squire who is carrying supplies from the kitchen out into the bailey. So that's going to be what guides all of this presentation of information. And now we're with Alice talking about her new armor, which is a conversation I've been wanting to input in the story. I just didn't know where to put it, and now I do. It's incredible how, again, I mentioned this in one of the previous NaNoWriMo vlogs, that just because you don't know something doesn't mean that you're not gonna figure it out once you do sit down and just force yourself to problem solve. I'm just astounded. I'm astounded. This story has been so difficult for me to write that I've developed this fear that I cannot write this. That this story does not exist in my head. I just have these images and that's all they're gonna be is images. But it's these little moments that remind me that no, there is a story and it's coming out. It might be like pulling teeth, but it's not impossible. Well, my lunch break is over, but I wrote 404 words. That's incredible. I feel great. It's 9 o'clock at night. I logged off of work an hour ago. I had to work overtime and I managed to shower and I'm pretty much gonna start winding down to go to bed. If my face is shiny, it's just because I put lotion on. Those 500 words were kind of a big deal. They were continuing girl night. I'm gonna have cereal, and I know I said I shouldn't be reading during NaNoWriMo, but I just really want to read. I'm gonna spend the last hour of the day reading this romance series called The Fourth Horseman. I read the first one, which is this one, Pestilence, and it was really good. So I just got the second one called War and I started it and I'm hooked. So now I need to continue reading it. I've only just started reading romance this year because I had this prejudice against them precisely because of those covers. I've read enough really good ones that I'm no longer deterred by those types of covers. So that's it for me tonight. Talk to you later. Wow, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a building over there in the distance and its windows are reflecting the sunlight into the apartment. Look at this. This is not normal sunlight. This is the reflection light from that building. I'm only noticing it now because it is literally in my eyeballs. This is insane. This is modern buildings right here. Reminds me of that building in London that when the light reflects on it at certain times of the day, it can fry eggs on the sidewalk. This is clearly just modern times. It's 6 o'clock. It's Wednesday. What are we doing? Have I written that much? No. It's so crazy how I started off this week so gung-ho about wanting to excel in NaNoWriMo, and this is literally like the worst time. And I keep forgetting that Thanksgiving is at the end of NaNoWriMo. Like, who decided to make NaNoWriMo during November? Like, why? So because of that, between now and Sunday, I won't even be here. I'll be at my parents' house. I'm gonna be shopping on Friday in the morning. It's a tradition I have with my mom. We go super extra early to go Black Friday shopping. Usually we don't even buy that much, but it's just, you know, like a tradition. It's fun to wake up at 5. And then we're gonna go camping in the Mojave Desert over the weekend. There's literally, there is not gonna be that much downtime to spend like 2 hours writing consecutively. So what's the strategies? I'm just gonna do my best. I'm excited and inspired to work on girl night, and life circumstances are just not letting me sit down and write it. And it's just so ironic. Why are things like that? Why is life like that? Like, why? I'm sleeping over at my parents' house so that I can stay with them for Thanksgiving. Jonathan is gonna do the same, but with his parents. I know we're married, but like, we just haven't figured out how to share holidays yet. I need to pack for tonight and Thanksgiving tomorrow. Maybe you can be my accountability buddy. I think, well, let's try that. Our apartment is kind of a mess right now. This is all the stuff for camping. We're almost done packing. He's gonna finish on Friday, and I need to finish my portion tonight. Huck definitely knows when we're gonna leave. He's weirdly alert. You excited? Not yet. Not yet. In like an hour. Okay? Today is Monday, November 30th, which is the last day of NaNoWriMo. I just woke up, so I'm really sleepy, but I'm gonna put in some time for writing before logging on to work. I'm gonna be working on Spacewarriors. The camping trip really helped with giving me ideas for some scenes that I have to work on anyways, so I'm gonna work on that. It's 7:30 and I made a mistake. It's actually the 29th, not the 30th. So I have one extra day to get as much writing as possible. Because we were traveling and it was a holiday, I couldn't really update you. I did get to squeeze some writing in. It was mostly through Girl Night and Spacewarriors, which I'm really happy about that because at the very beginning of this month, I mostly wanted to focus on my romance fantasy story. One of the reasons that it's really nice to write on the iPad is because you can travel and you can see your previous work. So I know that what some writers do when they sit down to write for the first time in that day, they spend 5 minutes rereading past work so that they can jump in knowing just the vibes of what they're supposed to continue on. Now with handwriting, that's slightly more difficult because there's nothing to read back on if you're kind of just jumping between formats. So I knew that going into car camping I would just be writing whatever scene came out of my head. I just didn't know the exact order of that scene, so I just played around and wrote it by hand. I haven't transferred the words into the Scrivener document yet, so I don't know how many words that is, but I will let you know if I do it either tonight or tomorrow. As far as Spacewarriors goes, I've been working on the scene where I was concerned about what information to reveal, and as I'm writing it, I'm moving the order of certain things being said still. So I haven't quite decided how to reveal some of the bigger ideas in the story, but I am having fun with it. And on our drive back from the desert, we were listening to some music and it just clicked on how to do the transition between that scene and just the next scene, because I really wasn't sure how all of that info dumping, how do we move to the next scene? And remember, this is for a comic, so the transition is bound by visual cues, so when I'm stuck on any scenes, it's really not how I'm wording things, it just has to make sense visually. Just as a reminder. Now that I've given you an update from the past couple of days after Thanksgiving, that means we have this evening and tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening left for NaNoWriMo, and that's it. That'll be it. Let's get back to writing and I'll check back soon. We're back from work and we have the full evening free. It is the last day of NaNoWriMo, like officially. I feel like it's that last extra credit time in middle school. My mind has been in Girl Night all day. I'm just really excited to sit down and put more words down. Let's see how many words I can get on the last day of this wonderful writing challenge. I have a celebratory seltzer, so let's open it up. about 500 words on my lunch break, and I didn't finish that scene. I'm going to jump into it right now. I do have the stuff I wrote during the camping trip that I need to put in, and then we can count how many words that was. I'm curious to see how many words I could have possibly written outdoors with a bunch of friends. What I mean is the amount of concentration that took was a lot. I'm gonna be surprised by that word count, but we'll do that later. For now, let's put a 20-minute timer and do a sprint. So that was like 40 minutes of writing, and it was 480 words. We're about to start the tournament section in the story, which is like a really big deal. I wouldn't say it's the climax, but it's about the end of the middle of the story. So I have been really excited to finally get to this point, because to me personally, the tournament is the one thing that has been very much clear in my mind with this story. Compared to everything else, it's the tournament. The tournament has been the creme of this story, so to finally almost be there is incredible. I've never gotten to this point. I have rewritten the beginning of the story a billion times, but I have never gotten to the end of the middle. So I think that's probably why I'm writing so much. It's just all of this is the build-up has been done. Now we're actually at the fun and games, in my opinion. I think the fun and games has been happening in the story, but for me the fun is just starting. Everything else has been like the character setup, storyline setup, like a lot of setup stuff that I'm just not interested in. I just want to dive into the story. So the knights have left the castle and they're on their way to the tournament. So I have to be thinking about, well, what will that journey look like? It's not going to be that long, because I Google mapped the distance between where the castle is located and Dijon. I even like Googled how long the horse travel would be, and it's really not that much. I keep forgetting that France is not a very big country. Hopefully no one dings me on it, but yeah. Anyhow, between those days within the story, what needs to happen? I kind of have sped through the story up until now, so I don't know how much setup I still need to do, so I'm kind of just putting it in here. Like, I'm explaining what exactly does Alice need to do in the tournament for her to have been successful in her big story mission, because everything is culminating to this tournament. What does she need to do? I'm establishing that within a bonfire conversation with the knights and setting up the expectations, basically. Like, the stakes have already been set up. I've been mentioning how important this is. I feel like I've pretty much bonged the reader in the head with what the stakes are, but it's more like setting the ground rules much better now that we're getting closer to the tournament. Now we actually have context as to discussing what exactly are they expecting the tournament to be like, and also just in the context of the medieval world, what do these people already assume tournaments are like? These people know what tournaments are, so for them to be discussing basic definitions of what a tournament looks like, it's just kind of off. So I do have to just make sure that the conversation is normal and not explaining. I think I'm kind of done. I'm so giddy because this is where I want to be. I've written so many things by hand, these scenes inside of the city and around the tournament. This is what I've been waiting for. Jonathan and I are gonna have dinner. I still need to put in these words that I wrote, not just in this notebook, but the other notebook that I have too. So I might do that after dinner and see how many words we have with that, and update the NaNoWriMo website, and then get back to like actual writing. Kitty, you're actually taking my seat. Come on.
Yeah, it looks like you're done in this.
I'm not done. I still have 2 bites. Come on, kitty. Afuera.
What
It's 9:40, so we're pretty much at bedtime, but I'm going to keep writing just because, you know, last day of NaNoWriMo and all. So what I wrote here was 690 words. That's nuts. I did not think I wrote 700 words while camping. I honestly thought maybe 300. On the 28th. I'm actually so tired already, and it's 11 o'clock, so I think I'm gonna call it a night. But just to give you a recap, today we wrote 1,692 words. Pretty awesome. The day that I had the most words written was 2,112 words. With NaNoWriMo, your goal is 50,000 words, and I wrote 15,600. Honestly, for me, not bad. From the very start of this challenge on November 1st, I knew that I was not going to get to 50,000 words because I'm mostly working on comic scripts and not novels. Being a NaNoRebel means also having NaNoRebel goals. I never really set a word goal for this month. I couldn't really gauge how much is a lot or what the equivalent of 50,000 words is to a script, so I didn't even bother setting up expectations that I probably wasn't gonna meet anyways. For me, I just see it as I wrote 15,000 more words than I did last month. And just thinking back to how this month went, I mean, I was really stuck on girl night, and I think I made some big progress there in allowing myself to think about it, letting it marinate, and just pushing through some of the more uncomfortable aspects of creating such a big story. With that said, am I going to keep this momentum going? Absolutely. I really want to get Spacewarriors and Girl Night done, at least the first draft. I really can't move forward in any of my projects or even make art until I make more headway on that. But for the month of December, I already have some videos planned out to record, and some of them are going to be art related. So if you're tired of seeing me post vlogs about writing, there'll be some art related stuff coming your way soon, including a video about freelance work. If you've been following these NaNoWriMo vlogs, thank you for watching. Let me know if you participated in NaNoWriMo and how did it go for you. I'm very, very curious to see how you did. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I would really, really appreciate that. Make sure you hit the bell button so you get notified of when I do post videos. I try to post one once a week, somewhere in there, and I'm gonna try to keep that schedule going. So I guess we will go to bed now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Jonathan must have put this new Christmas light because this is definitely new.